What's up, everybody? This is Daniel Mathematics here with another example to explore. And today, guys, I want to go over example one of simple interest, right? Example one of simple interest. Now, what is simple interest? What is simple interest? That's a good question. I have this definition, and I'm going to give my own example after I read the definition. So, simple interest, it is the percentage of a loan paid by a borrower annually. That means once a year, based on the principal, which is the start amount, and the interest associated with that account, okay? So once again, guys, it is the percentage of a loan paid by a borrower annually, that means once a year, based on the principal, which is the start amount, and the interest associated to the investment, all right, or to the account, right? So for example, guys, let's just say that I had $100, right? And I wanted to open up a high yield savings account, right? And let's just say that the savings account that I open up pays me back 4% interest every year on top of the $100 that I have deposited into the account, right? 4% of $100 is $4. So by the end of year one, if nothing happens to the account, they're going to add $4 to my $100, and I will have an imbalance of $104. After year two, it will go up to $8 added to my account. So it will go up to $108. So basically, guys, every year, my account will have an additional $4 added to it because 4% of my principal, which is $100, is $4, right? If my principal was bigger, right, then the percent of 4% would be a bigger value, right? It will represent a bigger value. But I was just giving that example as an example, okay? So that is simple interest, guys. It's just the money gained off interest accumulated over time, right? So for example, after 3 years, right, my account would have increased by $12 because each year it's increasing by $4. 4 times 3 is 12. So my new balance would be $112 if that was the case, right? So once again, that was just a simple example that I wanted to give. Now, before we even start on example one, let's just go over the formula of simple interest. Simple interest equals the principal is P, which is the start amount, times the interest rate, right? The interest rate that's given. And remember, guys, we have to convert the interest rate into a decimal when we do plug into the formula. And T represents the time in years. Remember, guys, simple interest is just interest added annually. That means one time per year, right? Once per year. So that's why T is described in years, right? That's the reason why, right? So once again, simple interest is only applied annually. That means one time per year, right? Once per year. Okay. So let's go ahead and get started with this problem, guys. Number one, it says how much interest is earned in 7 years on $8,000 invested at an interest rate of 9% annually. Remember, guys, annually means one time per year. That's why this is simple interest, okay? Once per year, okay? The second question reads, what will be the projected imbalance after 7 years, okay? So it's two things that they want us to do, guys. They want us to find out how much interest will the account gain, right, after 7 years, right? And it being hit with 9% interest. And they also want to know what would be the total imbalance after 7 years. So we're going to find both of those values or those numbers out after we solve, okay? So now let's go ahead and start solving. But the first thing that I want to do is, guys, I want to label the important facts, right? The important values that I'm going to plug into the formula, okay? So let's start off with the P, right? The P, which is principal. And guys, remember, guys, principal means the start amount. So I just want to put that in parentheses so we just know what I'm talking about, okay? So the start, oops, and my red marker is kind of going out, so I'm just going to use black, start amount, okay? And in this particular case, guys, the start amount or the amount that was invested is $8,000. Okay, cool. Now the interest rate that is hitting the account annually is 9%. Okay, so R right? And remember, guys, R is the interest rate. It is 9%, right? And remember, guys, we have to convert the percentage into a decimal, okay? So in order to do that, guys, all we need to do is just move the decimal point 2 times to the left. So 9% actually equals 0.09. All right, 0.09, okay? That's what it represents as a decimal, okay? And then time, try my best to make the red work, okay? Time is in years, right? And remember, guys, they gave us 7 years. I'm just gonna make TV black in this case, okay? 7 years. Okay, so once again, guys, we have the principal, which is $8,000. We have the interest rate that hits the account or the investment, which is 9% interest added every year annually, which is 0.09 as a decimal. And how many years that this is going to happen is over a span of 7 years, okay? So all we need to do, guys, is just plug in these simple values into the simple interest formula to find out how much interest was accumulated on top of the principal, okay? So let's go ahead and do that, guys. I have I, which is the interest or the simple interest, okay, equals P, which is the principal, times R, which is the interest rate, times T, which is the number of years, okay? So now all we need to do, guys, is just plug in, okay? P is the $8,000. That was the start amount, okay? So I have $8,000, okay? Times the interest rate is 9%, which is 0.09 or 0.09, right? So I'm gonna put that in, 0.09. Okay, times, and then the number of years is 7 years, times 7 years, okay? So all we need to do, guys, is just take a calculator and just multiply all 3 numbers together, and then you'll have the interest that is added on top of the principal after 7 years, okay? So I have 8,000 times 0.09 times 7, and that's $5,040 of interest accumulated, right? So I'm gonna put that, guys. $5,040 of interest accumulated. Okay, so that's how much interest that was accumulated in the investment, right? After 7 years, okay? After 7 years. Okay, so once again, I just want to put that, guys. All right, so this is the answer to the first question, right? They wanted to know how much interest is earned in 7 years, right? But the second question, guys, is asking for the end amount. Okay, it's asking for the end balance, right, after 7 years. So if I started off with $8,000, right, invested, and over 7 years, my account increased by $5,040, right, the end balance would be the principal plus the interest that was accumulated, right? So let's go ahead and put that, guys. So the end balance equals, right, the principal. And once again, I just want to just put this again, start amount, right, plus I, which is the interest accumulated, right? The interest accumulated, okay? So that's all we're gonna do, guys. We're just gonna we're just gonna add those 2 values. So once again, guys, the start amount was $8,000 plus the interest that was accumulated over 7 years, which is $5,040. 5,040, okay? And let's just add up those two numbers. So I got 8,000 plus 5,040, and we get $13,040. So after 7 years, right, the account or the investment will be worth $13,040. That is the end amount. That is the end amount. Okay, $13,040, okay? So once again, guys, remember, we found out how much the account grew over 7 years, right? Which is $5,040. That's what grew on top of the start amount. And the end balance will be the start amount plus the amount that the account grew, which will give us $13,040, which is the end balance. So once again, guys, this is how we solve simple interest, okay? Problems that are dealing with simple interest. Thank y'all so much, guys, for tuning in. I'll talk to you next time.